Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. The India Alliance parties are meeting over the next couple of days in Mumbai. This is the third such meeting after the first two meetings happened in Patna and Bengaluru. And the issues of contention remain much the same. That is seat sharing, how to put up common candidates across 543 constituencies, how to have a common agenda or a common minimum program, to have a coordination committee or a convener. There seems to be a lot of back and forth on whether or not there will be a convener, and if at all there is one, then who may that convener be? But these are all smaller details. Maybe these details can be brushed aside. The biggest stumbling block for the India Alliance continues to be the question, who will be the prime ministerial face? The Congress party today put out posters. It had Rahul Gandhi in the lead, in the front of all of these galaxy of other leaders. Later on in the evening, those posters and those social media posts were deleted. The I.N.D.I.A party, a spokesperson of the party, suggested that Arvind Kejriwal would make a great prime ministerial candidate. Again, she had to retract that a few hours later. The question, and this is something that is going to be fundamental to whether this India alliance will take off or not, is who is going to be the chehra? Who is it going to be who will take on Modi? Modi versus who from the India alliance is a central question which the alliance partners will not be able to avoid as much as they try. But first, the story.
पूरे कांग्रेस की आज से नहीं पहले से सबकी मांग भी रही है और मेरी निजी सोच भी है कि राहुल गांधी जी को अब आगे आकर हमारा चेहरा बनना चाहिए प्रधानमंत्री के पद के लिए।
मुझसे पूछेंगे एज अ स्पोक्स पर्सन तो निश्चित तौर पर मैं भी अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का नाम आगे रखूंगी। उन्होंने लगातार जनता के मुद्दे उठाए हैं, लगातार जनता के बीच में गए हैं, एक ऐसा मॉडल दिया है जिसमें सबसे कम महंगाई है पूरे देश में, दिल्ली देश की राजधानी होने के बावजूद एक ऐसा मॉडल दिया है जहां पर टैक्स कलेक्शन करके वही टैक्स का पैसा अपने नागरिकों पर खर्चा किया है अरविंद केजरीवाल सरकार ने।
प्रियंका कक्कड़ सिंह, अरविंद केजरीवाल, प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी सिंह, उद्धव ठाकरे जी। So we have seen the major moot point here is this: there are 38 party alliance in the NDA. Besides the BJP, can the 37 parties, any 37 members say, "Mera leader Pradhan Mantri"? They can't do it. That's a sense of fear.
It's proven. These people have no mission or vision for the country like Prime Minister Modi, who is taking the economy from 10th to 5th spot and now to 3rd spot, doubled the per capita income, quadrupled the middle class income, built infrastructure.
So let's lay out the challenges before the India Alliance. They'll have, of course, the challenge of finding a common agenda, common candidates, a convener, and of course, like I said, the most important question that will face this alliance is going to be who will be the chehra. Now, the agenda. Number one, and this is what they've been saying consistently from Patna to Bangalore to now Mumbai, they want to expose the politics of hate by the BJP. That India and Indian society under the BJP, under Narendra Modi, has sort of split at the seams, and that hate is becoming far more widespread. Also, the decision that's going to be critical, because increasingly we are seeing, even in parliamentary elections, a sort of presidential nature creep in. It's going to be who is the face against Narendra Modi. Modi versus who is a question that they simply cannot afford to ignore or not answer before the people of this country. The issues that are of prominence for the alliance partners is unemployment. They're saying that unemployment is at record levels, so that's something that they are going to raise. The caste census, remember, a sort of start has already happened in Bihar for this. There is, of course, the High Court there which has given the go-ahead. So that's a second part that they will be taking up as a big issue. Misuse of investigative agencies. Here again, the opposition parties are saying that ED, CBI, IT, etc. are being used disproportionately against opposition parties. A common minimum program. Remember in 2004, when the UPA came to power, the common minimum program happened post facto. It happened post the election because the left and the Congress had to come together. Will there be a common minimum program this time around for these 26 parties? And there's also some of the minor details like whether they will have a convener. That again has been a bit of a back and forth. Initially Nitish Kumar's name was suggested, then Sharad Pawar's name was suggested, but now it seems that neither of them may end up becoming convener, or maybe they might not even have a convener in the first place. Let me go across to our guests who are joining us. This is on the PM Face Jitters. We have Aparajita Sarangi, Member of Parliament of the BJP, who's joining us. Also, we have Salman Soz, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, who is also joining us. KJ Josmon is the spokesperson of the NCP, the Sharad Pawar faction. He's on the broadcast this evening. And Nalin Mehta is Group Consulting Editor with Network 18. Let me start with Salman Soz. I just outlined, a whole broad range of issues that the India parties will have to tackle, and presumably they will through the meeting in Mumbai and, of course, subsequent meetings. But the central question, Salman, and this is, again, been brought to the fore today with, the Congress party putting up Rahul Gandhi posters and then retracting them. Then you had Priyanka Kakkar saying that Arvind Kejriwal is a prime ministerial face. She then had to retract it. Priyanka Chaturvedi says Uddhav Thackeray would be an ideal prime ministerial face. You have to address this question of Modi versus who sooner than later. You cannot brush it aside or brush it under the carpet.
Zaka, we don't have to address anything that the media says we have to address. We have to address what we believe the country needs at this time. You've laid out some very important issues, whether it is price rise, whether it is high unemployment, whether it is extremely low labor force participation rates, especially for women, whether it is the kind of politics that BJP has brought to India, whether it is the quite frankly, very disgusting things that have happened with women. Very, whether the Brijbhushan Singh case, whether you have Bilkis Bano case, whether what happened in Manipur, and how the Prime Minister and the BJP have totally abdicated responsibility, or whether it is China which keeps on pushing India around, or whether it's a foreign policy where our neighbors are being pushed away. I think there are lots of issues, and the people of the country realize that. Now, in terms of who will lead this alliance, which I believe is already giving nightmares to the BJP, quite frankly, that is why you saw this 200 rupee cut yesterday, and I'm sure they're going to do many more things. But let me just say this. I'm proud of the fact that the India Alliance has many, many leaders, many seasoned leaders, excellent leaders, who could become Prime Minister, who could do a much better job than Prime Minister Modi has. And by the way, you talked about Rahul Gandhi ji. Of course, he's a beloved leader of the Congress party. If people feel that he should be Prime Minister, of course his supporters would say that. And if Priyanka, my friend Priyanka from Shiv Sena feels that Uddhav ji can be Prime Minister, of course she has a right to say that. And of course, if somebody from the Aam Aadmi Party or anybody else wants to support their leader, there is no harm in that. But
no. Salman, the point, the problem, 2014, 2019, and this is how it is. Not just in India, by the way. This is happening across, parliamentary democracies around the world. So you will have to contend with this question. But let me ask Aparajita Sarangi, the only thing that seems to be going for the BJP, and this is again one of the contentions from the opposition, is that you only have a chehra, you only have a face, you have Prime Minister Modi. But there are a whole host of issues, according to the opposition, where his government has failed, your government has failed.
We have two things. An excellent leader in Prime Minister Modi, whom the entire world looks up to, number one. And number two, of course, is the excellent record, the report card of the party which we take to the people. And I think we are the only party, we are the only government since independence which has had the courage to take its report card to the public. This is one part. Now, number two, if I.N.D.I.A. wants to gain the confidence of 140 crore Indians, they have to answer 4 questions. They can't just beat around the bush as all the spokespersons have been doing. The first question, which you have already mentioned, I would reiterate, who is going to be the convener? Right. So they just mentioned that there would be a 11-member committee. Can you ever think of a meeting being convened by an 11-member committee? Number one. Number two, who is going to be the PM's face? Already there are about 6 contenders and we have heard all the spokespersons. Now number 3, and very important, is the common minimum program. And here I would like to mention, I would like to kind of remind all of you that the last meeting of I.N.D.I.A. took place in Bengaluru on 17th, 18th July, and thereafter there was a press meet, and in the press meet it was told by the spokespersons that immediately the common minimum program would be drawn up and the country would get to know, but it never happened. And last and very important is the seat sharing pattern, which I think, Jaka, you have not mentioned. Now, what is going to be the seat sharing strategy? Now, since independence, if you look at things, in no general election, Congress has contested in less than 400 seats. So which seat it is going to leave, which seat it is going to give its candidature from? So I think this is a major question. Now, number 2, related to this, related to the seat sharing thing, I'm just giving you an example. AAP has come forward and said it would also contest in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, and it will definitely not leave Delhi and Punjab. So I think I just gave you 2 examples as far as seat sharing pattern problem is concerned.
So let me ask,
you have to answer a host of issues before they actually
let me ask
talk about unity.
Nalin Mehta this. Aparaditya Sarangi is right. Those 4 issues: who is the PM face, who is the convener, what sort of coordination mechanism will they have, common minimum program, all of these things, and of course seat sharing. How many seats out of 543 can the India Alliance find common candidates? Now, the contention of the India Alliance is they still believe, whether with good reason or otherwise we can debate, that you don't need to project a face. You can say the collective faces of these 26 parties will go to the people. A, does that work? B, the issues that they are raising, they are convinced, whether it is price rise, unemployment, women's safety, etc., they are convinced that those issues matter enough to the people of India to vote out the Modi government. Are these electorally relevant? Going without one face, who it is going to be against Modi, because they realize no one face can match that of Modi. And B, they feel that the issues are stronger enough, while Modi's face might be great, that the BJP's track record on tackling these issues has not been stellar, and therefore the opposition feels they have a chance.
So, Zaka, I mean, just in the last, just yesterday, the Pew Research Center data has come out, and they are reporting that somewhere around 79% of Indians have a favorable view of Narendra Modi, out of which 55% are very favorable. Now, yes, issues do matter, price rise, unemployment, all of these will be important issues in the 2024 election. That's what the election will be about. But make no mistake, Modi is the issue. In the last 10 years or so, we have seen a much more presidential style of politics. We've seen electorates giving more and more decisive verdicts, and we've seen a much more personalized style of politics. And in 2024, the BJP is going to legitimately ask, against Modi, who? Now, it's going to be about chemistry versus arithmetic. Now, if there are 2 challenges for the India Alliance, one, they've done well so far in terms of knitting it together and so on. There's still a lot of within the alliance, and you mentioned some of that today, vis-a-vis Rahul Gandhi being put up more prominently than others, or the statement by the AAP spokesperson, which was then retracted. So all of these are contradictions below the surface that keep coming in and out. But fundamentally, this will be about 2 things. Ultimately, who is the prime ministerial candidate from India and from the India Alliance, and the second is going to be about common candidates. That is easier said than done. If you have a common candidate, if you can work out and only one opposition candidate against the BJP, then the game becomes more difficult for the BJP. But can the alliance pull that off? I think these 2 things are really important.
Okay, the alliance's contention is maybe they won't get in all 543 seats a common candidate against the BJP. Even if they manage to do that in 250 or 300 seats out of 543, that itself will pose a challenge to the BJP. But Let me now, since Nalin brought this up, and I think it's a fascinating point to bring up because timing in politics is everything. So I want to play that graphic of this Pew Research, which has just come out today, which these are staggering numbers. 79%, that's 80% of Indians in their research study have a favorable view of Prime Minister Modi, which means 4 out of 5 Indians, according to this Pew Research, have a favorable view of Mr. Modi. 55% out of this 79%, 55%, that is more than half, have a very favorable view of Prime Minister Modi. And also to add to that, 68%, and this is coming in the run-up to the G20, which India is hosting in 10 days' time, 68% believe that India's global influence is rising because of Modi and his diplomatic efforts. Now, the reason why this is important and why we've brought this Pew Research, like I said, one, it's about the timing. It's come out today, just as the India Alliance partners are meeting. And two, I want to ask Mr. K.J. Josmon this of the NCP. Pew is one of the most respected research institutions in the world. At a time when Pew Research study is saying that 4 out of 5 Indians have a favorable view of Mr. Narendra Modi, the question that's then going to be asked inevitably to the India Alliance is, then on what basis are you claiming there is anti-incumbency? On what basis are you claiming that there is a mood for change or that people want to vote out Mr. Modi's government?
Yeah. Let me start with the questions you asked earlier about the face. Now there is only one face. That is the BJP spokesperson saying. And that face has poured beyond the doubt that he is an empty rhetoric. Unfortunately, we have got a prime minister. He is just an empty rhetoric. He says a lot and does very little. That itself is the main contention and main issue that there is a mood for change. The base of the thinking that the mood for a change is the Prime Minister himself. And in 1989, there were no opposition face. Just like as you said, there was a presidential style of functioning were there. There were only one face for the ruling party. But 1989, the people of the country turned away the superpower who were in power. And as far as the surveys are concerned, now in 2019, before 2019 also there were some surveys. People were in favor of Modi, but despite of all these things, the BJP has got only around 30% of vote. The 70% of votes were voted against BJP. So that votes are now coming together. Now the opposition vote, which was gone different ways, now they are coming together. There is a united opposition. So that is more important. And what is the driving factor behind the India Alliance? It is nothing but the BJP spokesperson spoke about the progress card. What are the progress card? Highest unemployment rate, even after the independence. Even we have more better employment situation in 1947. And unprecedented price rise. And the country is divided. And the Time magazine have given a title to our Prime Minister, the divider-in-chief of the country. So any Prime Minister were never ever framed like that. So
no.
As we are focusing on the country together.
Okay, Mr. Josmon, there are 2 points of contention. If I can, bring this up on the wall as well, the guests on the wall. Two basic contentions with what he said. 1989, yes, it was Rajiv Gandhi's government versus, an alliance of parties on the other side, left and right came together. But there was one crucial difference. That election, whether you like it or not, no, one second. That election, whether you like it or not, on the opposition side, the face was VP Singh. There is no doubt about it that Vishwanath Pratap Singh was definitely the face of the opposition alliance. There was a face to that opposition alliance. So that's number one. And similarly, if you want to go back to 1977, Jayaprakash Narayan was the face of the opposition alliance to dethrone Mrs. Gandhi. So faces matter, right? That's the first basic. No, one second. Let me finish. That is the first basic contention. I think there is a small error there. The second contention, which you said was, parties coming together, BJP got only 30% vote in 2019, everybody else got 70% of the vote. I'm sorry, that's not how electoral arithmetic or electoral politics works. And the case in point is, in 2019, the two biggest parties, the two biggest regional parties in Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party and BSP, came together and their votes did not transfer. One party's vote did not transfer to the other when that party's candidate was fielded in places, and vice versa. The other party's vote did not transfer to the second party's this thing. So just to say that because Party A and Party B are coming together, the votes will get automatically transferred and therefore the BJP will be defeated, that is not how it works electorally. But I want to bring the debate back to... Sir, 1 second.
I have answers.
Fair enough. I'll come back to you. Let me go to Salman Soz, because Salman was, in the business of number crunching and economics, and he's very, very familiar with Pew and how its reputation is. So please tell me, Salman Soz, this is the contrasting picture in front of the people of this country. You have an alliance of 26 parties that is not able to decide on one face or one leader to take on Mr. Modi. And on the other side, you have the Pew Research today saying that 80% Indians have a favorable view of Narendra Modi. How are you going to counter that?
Zaka, I know Pew and, I like Pew and all that. But you should also know that this is one survey. Let me tell you about another survey that you may not know about, maybe you do not remember. Lokniti CSDS, a very reputable Indian surveyor, in May 2023 came out with data which suggested the following, that Prime Minister Modi's likability was at 40%. His dislikes were at 24%. He had a net favorability rating of 16 percentage points. Rahul Gandhi ji, after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, his likability was at 41%. His dislikes were at 16%. His net favorability, according to Lokniti CSDS, from May 2023, is higher than Prime Minister Modi's. Now, I'm not saying this. You can talk to Sanjay Kumar. You can talk to Lokniti.
So, Salman, if that is the case, then you should declare Rahul Gandhi as the prime ministerial face to take on Mr. Modi. It's simple, right? You believe, and you've quoted CSDS Lokniti. According to their data, it's 41% Rahul Gandhi, 40% Mr. Modi. So declare Mr. Rahul Gandhi as your prime ministerial face. Why are you hesitating?
But why should we? We have to have a strategy. Now, by the way, you talk a lot about the face, but Prime Minister Modi's face is a face of failure. He's failed the women of this country. You know what's happened to women's labor force participation rates. They've tanked. Highest unemployment rates are for women, even more than young people. He's failed small businesses in India. He's failed farmers in India. He's even failed the soldiers of India. You know what's happened with the Agniveer scheme. So his is a face of failure. We are going to fight with our own strategy. I'm again saying to you, I named a few people earlier in the I.N.D.I.A alliance. We have excellent people who could be candidates for Prime Minister. There's so many. Sharad Pawar ji is there. Nitish Kumar ji is there. So, we have wonderful people in our alliance who could do a much better job. This Prime Minister has failed.
Aparajita Sarangi, again, I come back to what the opposition's contention is, and I think maybe this is their strategy. You can fault that strategy. You can say that people are not interested in who the prime ministerial face is. There have been elections. 2004 is a classic example where Sonia Gandhi was not declared as the prime ministerial face against Vajpayee. Of course, the election results, the way it played out, we all know. The point that the opposition is making is, and they are maybe playing this smartly, is that they realize no one leader will be able to take on Modi because no one leader in the alliance has the kind of stature that the Prime Minister has. Therefore, they're not declaring a face. And if and when in a position to form a government after the next elections, they will choose a face like the Congress Party chose Manmohan Singh in 2004.
See, we are well aware of the fact that this I.N.D.I.A has not been able to gain the confidence of the people of the country. In fact, let me tell you that this Lokniti survey, which the spokesperson of Congress is mentioning, is dated. He talked of May. I am talking of another survey which came out 2 days back, India Today and See Voter Survey. where we are 43%. We were at 37.5% earlier. And here is a Prime Minister who has really delivered. I wish these people with a broad heart would have listened to the speech of Honorable Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort on 15th August this year. Here is a Prime Minister who has the guts, who has the courage to list out his achievements, his works before 140 crore Indians from the ramparts of the Red Fort. I wish they had broad heart. One. Number two, let me tell you two things I would definitely like to mention here. 13.8 crore people have been lifted out of extreme poverty in these 9 years. This should not be forgotten. This is a great achievement. And number two, of course, I would like to mention here is a Prime Minister who is talking of taking this country to third largest economy by 2027, and from 10th we are at
But ma'am,
5th.
can I have an interjection, please? Can I have an interjection, please? So opposition's claim is yesterday you reduced cylinder prices by 200. They are saying that this is the single biggest indicator of how nervous your party and your government are, because this had become a huge talking point. This had become a huge pain point.
See, the opposition, especially the Congress, is suffering from huge inner contradictions. Now, at times they ask for reducing the prices. You know, they cry hoarse when they talk of inflation. And here is a Prime Minister who has reduced the price of LPG cylinder by rupees 200. They should be happy. It's a gift to the sisters of the country. Don't they want the sisters to feel happy? Don't they want the women of the country to pay less? So there have been endeavors on part of Prime Minister Modi's government to reduce the prices. So I think they should be very happy. Why should they be going against it? So if you reduce the price, they are unhappy. If the price is not reduced, they are unhappy. So I think they are a confused lot, and we know what's going to happen. 2024, there is absolutely no vacancy in the seat of the Prime Minister. All these people know, and all these meetings, one after the other, every month that they are holding, is basically to ensure that people know that they exist.
So let me go back to Nalin. I'll come back to you, Salman. Give me 1 second. Yeah, let me ask Nalin this. You know, the opposition repeatedly cites the example of 77 when Mrs. Gandhi was defeated, 89 when Rajiv Gandhi was defeated, 2004 when Mr. Vajpayee was defeated, and at those times, those were strong governments with very strong prime ministers at the helm, right? So strong governments with strong leaders have been defeated by a coalition of parties on the opposite side, and history, has shown us that. How does that square, though, Nalin, with what we are seeing increasingly in election after election, not just here in India, we're seeing this across other parliamentary democracies as well, where people are voting for strong governments and strong leaders?
So there's no question, Zaka, that we've seen a trend in India of people giving decisive verdicts and for strong governments. I think the big fear is about getting a khichdi sarkar. I do want to say that look, any government can be defeated, however strong it is. I mean, that's the whole beauty of democracy, right? The fate of the 2024 election, to a large extent, will depend on the 200 odd seats where the BJP and the Congress are the two primary contenders. Exactly. So, the BJP traditionally, if you look at even 14 and 2019, its strike rate against non-Congress parties is much lower than its strike rate against the Congress. It was somewhere around 90% in 2014, somewhere around 88% in 2014 against the Congress, about 92% in 2019. The Congress will have to up that significantly and at least double or triple its tally for this to overturn the Modi government. And I think those 200 odd seats, 189 to be precise, which is a direct BJP and Congress contest, those will really be where the rubber is going to hit the road.
Okay, so Salman, respond to that. I think 180 odd seats is where it was direct contest. BJP won 168 of those seats. That's a strike rate of over 90%. How are you going to change that? And that includes, by the way, states where the Congress was in power, or even in this case now continues to be in power. In Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh at that time, you were in power. In Chhattisgarh, many of these North Indian states where you did not even win a single seat or won in single digits.
I think, Zakat, that is a fair point. That's a fair assessment. Yes, the Congress Party and the BJP have a direct fight in many places, and of course, the BJP strike rate last time was tremendous, and congratulations to them. But I think a lot has changed since that time. I think what happens is that voters don't have buyer's remorse immediately. They gave the Prime Minister a 5-year term. And then, of course, the last election had this Pulwama issue and all that. But, they gave him another opportunity, and fair enough. This is a totally different election, I think. Because if you remember 2018, yes, we had won some states that time. And, of course, but it was not all Congress at that time. In Karnataka, BJP had done fairly well. In Himachal, they had formed a government. This time, Zaka, we're going into election season with 2 victories already in Himachal Pradesh and Karnataka. Karnataka being a devastating defeat for the BJP. The Prime Minister spent time there when he should have been in Manipur. The Home Minister spent time in Karnataka when he should have been in Manipur. But they still were totally demolished in Karnataka. Now, the next 5 elections that are coming up, I personally don't see any victory for BJP. I don't think they're going to win any state. That's their situation. That is why you see these kind of, these price cuts here, and the Prime Minister is making all these. The Prime Minister made a very political speech from the ramparts of the Red Fort. The BJP should be ashamed of talking about that speech. Now, two quick points, very quick points on numbers, because the BJP spokesperson talked about, poverty numbers, 14 crore people having been lifted from poverty. There is no comparison between the UPA and the I.N.D.I.A because from 2005 to 2016, 27 crore people were lifted out of poverty, mostly under the UPA and some under the Modi government too. And by the way, all of this to say that the BJP finds itself in some difficulty, and they can see it. In fact, even the recent C-Voter survey shows that the percentage point difference between the BJP, the I.N.D.A.'s vote share, and the India Alliance's vote share is very limited. And we haven't even fully formed our alliance yet. We've just started, and our seat share is already going considerably higher.
Okay.
That, I think, is, as this alliance firms up, I think people will see that there's an alternative. Of course, we have to put forward a positive agenda.
So
that is absolutely important.
If I'm not mistaken,
and we will do that.
The C-Voter eventual numbers were somewhere in the range of 300 for the I.N.D.A. and 190 for the India Alliance. So,
Aparajita, we haven't even started.
Yeah, Aparajita Sarangi. So, the point that Salman is making and the Congress is. Since you brought that up, let Aparajita respond to it.
Just 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I just want to tell Aparajita ji that if she was the Prime Minister of India tomorrow, or Zaka was the Prime Minister of India tomorrow, India is again going to be the 3rd largest country. You don't need Modi ji for that, because that's how the economy is.
So Aparajita Sarangi, their contention being that even that latest C-Voter data seems to show that the India Alliance has reached a high of 190 seats. Their contention is you're not giving them a chance, but they're already at 190 seats.
See, I tell you, I heard the spokesperson from the Congress and I'm aghast. He's referring to the speech from the ramparts of the Red Fort as political. Now, what is political about a Prime Minister talking about the number of cylinders that have been given to women, the number of PMAY houses that have been given, the number of airports that have been done in the past 9 years, whatever the infrastructure growth that we have been able to do, the electrification of villages, the welfare measures for farmers and women.
The aims of
if the Prime Minister of the country has all these figures at his fingertip and he tries to make the people of the country aware of the works done, is this a political speech? How very unfortunate. What kind of speech do you expect from the Prime Minister? If this is political, then what is a speech about the achievements of the government?
Okay.
I think this is very ridiculous. And as far as the Prime Minister Modi's popularity is concerned, I think we are all well aware of the fact this is like showing light to the sun. Let's not debate on that. When all these opposition parties, they know very well that they are going to lose. Existential crisis they are suffering from. And I remember 2019, just prior to 2019, Chandrababu Naidu ji, with all regards, I refer to him. Chandrababu Naidu ji had started this kind of parade. 21 opposition parties he had gathered together, and ultimately what happened, he had to bite the dust before YSRCP. He wanted everything to be against Prime Minister Modi. YSRCP, and he had to be content with only 3 seats. So I think this is a parade which took place before 2014, before 2019, and I am sure they're all going to bite the dust.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out. But like I said, it could be a critical question, this Modi versus who. The alliance is hoping that it is Modi versus all, or Modi versus India alliance, or even, as one of the lead headlines today says, Modi versus Modi in 2024. But we will keep an eye out on all of these contentious questions, these critical questions which the India alliance needs to find an answer to before it can go to the people with, and whether or not it is able to convince the people about the cohesiveness of that alliance, about the viability of that alliance, and what is it that they're offering the people of India as an alternative to the Modi government. All right, let's shift focus now.